The following is a segment from Session 8 of the Honestly Better Mental Fitness Show. If you would like a list of all the segments and the full sessions, please visit honestlybetterfitness.com/list. That's honestlybetterfitness.com/list.
Welcome to LH Industrial's Honestly Better Mental Fitness. I'm Mike Lomber. I'm the president of LH Industrial, standing in the middle of a breezeway in the shop in Tempe, Arizona, to get an idea of what we do behind us here. I found mental fitness a few years ago, and it changed my life. It's changed my family's life. And now we'll bring it to all of LH Industrial and recording it to put it out for us to hearing. Thank you for joining.
I think you can pull a lot in on unique ability, Travis, too, on that whole subject. When I started getting myself in my own unique ability, and then I started wanting everybody around me to be in their unique ability, there's a lot of love that shows up from that. And what that means for context is I figured out what I'm great at and I love to do, and then I figured out what I'm terrible at and I hate to do. And there was two different boxes. And I tried to get rid of everything I'm terrible at and I hate to do, and stick more time into the things I love to do and I'm great at. Now, there's two boxes in between that are kind of average in between there, but these two are pretty clear, right? More of this, less of this. And if you truly want that for yourself, you'll really shine and you'll really understand that person. But it's also not a cultural norm in the United States or in Europe. It is, the cultural norm is, oh, you're terrible at that. You need to practice that. You need to do more of that so you get better at it. So we tend to do that to each other as friends and as couples as well. So if you truly show up with the people around you and say what, really want to understand what they're great at and they love doing and want them to spend more time doing that, and you really want them not to have to do the stuff they're terrible at and they hate. Now, sometimes you have to, right? But that should be 10% of the time, not 50% of the time. And, there's always somebody else. So when that comes down to a job, I grappled with this one for a while. So I got a job description that says I have to do this thing, but I'm no good at it and I hate doing it. Mm-hmm. Well, that job description means you have to make sure that thing's done. It doesn't mean you have to do it. To me, you do the stuff you're great at and you delegate that to somebody else. Job description means you have to make sure that gets done. Somebody has to make sure the trash is taken out. Doesn't mean you have to do it. Just means you have to make sure it's done, right?
Yeah. Here, really, at the deep root of that is knowing yourself and then embracing that. Is what that is. And then I've heard you say something else beyond that. Embracing it for myself, I was so free, and I found myself working so much more efficiently, living happier, all those things, that you wanted it for other people too. And you start trying to change them and make them see like you or be like you, but you embraced them for who they are and wanted them to be more of who they are, as opposed to all of us trying to change each other in there.
Spend less time trying to change them into something they don't want to be and aren't natural at, and more time understanding what their unique abilities and their superpowers are, and allowing them to do that, right? And sure, these other things need done. Go find somebody else that has that as a superpower and let them do it, right?
Right. And I think you brought in the, it's also just because you're embracing those things that you doesn't mean you never work on your weaknesses. Doesn't mean you completely reject all of those things. And you almost see like the role of discipline. And like discipline is doing things you don't want to do and forcing yourself to do it. And does it not? I was saying it doesn't have a role. I would say no. Sometimes it's powerful. And I think the more in tune with ourselves and our environment we become, the less discipline even becomes a factor. If you love working out, you don't have to discipline yourself to working out. You just work out because you want to work out. If you love doing these things, and the more I think we get into that space of like fully knowing and embracing ourselves, as opposed to trying to make ourselves an extrovert when we're actually an introvert or whatever it is, the more in tune with everything we get, and the more it just works and flows, and the less discipline becomes even a thing. That said, there's horrible things that happen in life, and discipline is a beautiful strength, in there too, and definitely has its room as well.
There's something to be said in bringing these two themes together that I just got to pop in and say.
Yeah.
The beauty of unique ability is just that it is who you are. And so what's amazing is when you can love your spouse, love your child, love your employee for who they are, that goes back to exactly what you said about being seen.
Yep.
So many people love their kids if they perform a certain way. So many people are good to the spouse if they take out the trash. But when you understand who they are, truly loved, truly seen, and it's a beautiful mixture of all this stuff. I just think of Dan Sullivan says repeatedly that the day he uncovered his Colby scores was one of the greatest days in his life because he felt truly seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a tool that Mike's obviously giddy on, as are many of us, but it's a tool that really can be part of the loving process. So I just had to jump in and add that.
People really do feel loved when you understand their unique ability and you want them to spend time in that. They really do feel loved.
Mm-hmm. I would just broaden that of when someone really feels seen and known, they feel and not rejected, right? Or maybe embraced, like they feel loved. And I think that's this huge part of a lot of the work that I do. A lot of times is just nobody's ever sat down with me for this amount of time and just listened to me without an objective, without chiming in and trying to tell me how I should be or shouldn't be, but just allowed me to be and be fully seen and known, like is a really powerful healing process in itself. I wouldn't even say healing. I'd say growth it is what allows the person to grow fully into what they are. And that comes up through a variety of methods, right? Of the Colby thing, different things, working with another individual, all of that. And I think this is something that we can all do and bring into our own relationships. How do we, so the question of the take home with this section here might be, how do we how do we get to know ourselves better? And how do we get to deeply know the people that or relationships we care about better? Maybe it's like kids. How well do you know your kids? Do you know their hopes, dreams, likes, the things they're fear at? Do you know what they're really good at? What about your coworkers? What about your friends? You might know them on one level, but how deep do you know them? And can you get to know them better?